changed it forever. The story begins not in a quiet library, nor in the study of a writer dreaming of fame, but in the heart of a battlefield, where thick fog blankets a Roman military camp, and the distant sounds of soldiers echo through the night. Inside a small tent, a lone man sits in silence. He is the most powerful man on earth, an emperor who rules millions, a commander whose armies conquer nations. Yet, he isn't writing military orders. He isn't planning his next conquest. Instead, he writes to himself, as if he is trying to save his own soul. He has no idea that these private notes will become, nearly 2,000 years later, one of the most influential books ever written. This book is Meditations. But here's the surprise. This isn't a book about happiness. It isn't a guide to success. It doesn't promise wealth or fame. It is something much deeper. It is the story of the endless battle between a person and their own mind. From the very first page, Marcus Aurelius doesn't speak as an emperor. He speaks as a human being, a man who feels fear, who grows tired, who gets angry, and who struggles every single day to become better than he was yesterday. He understood that power cannot bring peace, money cannot buy inner calm, and the greatest victory is not defeating your enemies, but conquering the anger, pride, and fear within yourself. Then he asks a simple question, one that changes everything. What if most of your suffering doesn't come from what happens to you, but from the story you tell yourself about it? Someone may betray you, but the deepest pain comes from replaying that betrayal in your mind. You may lose your job, but what truly breaks you is believing your life is over. Events are simply events. Meaning is something you create. Then Marcus introduces another idea, an idea that may seem harsh, but is incredibly liberating. Everything around you will eventually disappear. Fame, money, beauty. He doesn't remind you of death to frighten you. He reminds you to wake you up. Because once you realize life is short, you stop postponing your dreams. You stop wasting years trying to impress people who may not even remember your name. Then he whispers another lesson. Don't ask whether the world is fair. Ask whether you are. Don't wait for perfect circumstances. Become better, no matter the circumstances. Don't allow your happiness to depend on praise, a compliment, or the opinion of someone who barely knows you. Because the person who lives for applause falls apart the moment the applause ends. One of Marcus's most powerful teachings is that life contains only two kinds of things. Things you can control and things you cannot. The tragedy is that most people spend their lives trying to control the second. They try to change other people, rewrite the past, guarantee the future, and then they wonder why they feel exhausted. The wise person pours all of their energy into the only thing they truly own: themselves. With every page, you discover that real strength isn't speaking the loudest. It isn't dominating others. It isn't winning every argument. True strength is staying calm when everyone else is losing control. Being honest when lying would be easier. Doing the right thing even when no one is watching. At first glance, meditation seems like a simple collection of thoughts. But every paragraph feels like an arrow piercing a false belief you've carried for years. That is why, after nearly 2,000 years, this book has never lost its power. Because human nature hasn't changed. We still fear. We still worry. We still become angry. We still search for meaning. Just as people did 2,000 years ago. In the end, Meditations doesn't promise a life without pain. It doesn't tell you that suffering will disappear. Instead, it gives you something far more valuable: a stronger mind, a quieter heart, and a reminder that the greatest battle you will ever fight is not against